It's a great pleasure to welcome to What's Next, Vodacom Business, Sannesh Beharie, the Managing Executive for SME and mobile products at Vodacom Business, joins us. Lukhanyo Zahela, who's the Acting Managing Executive of Cloud Hosting and Security at Vodacom Business. Gentlemen, listen, I'm quite excited about this, and I'm glad that I'm talking to the two of you because, you know, I'm very passionate about SMEs. And obviously security is a massive issue for SMEs today. And I'm glad that we're going to be talking about this. And it always comes down to money, right? But let me start off by asking you the question, Sannesh, about SMEs and talking about cybersecurity and their security posture, et cetera. Why is it that SMEs often overlook cybersecurity, and what are the consequences of this oversight? Because in business, they are the most vulnerable right now.
Thanks, Aki. I think there's a few misconceptions around this area when it comes to small, medium enterprises. Firstly, many SMEs think that, they're too small to be targeted by cyber criminals. And also, they believe that the cost of robust preventative measures or investing in cybersecurity is quite a high cost. And these two misconceptions actually make SMEs more vulnerable. And the consequences of overlooking cybersecurity can be quite severe. It could be the difference between staying afloat and being a viable business or having to close your doors because, the costs incurred from, let's say, a liability of a cyber attack are too much for a business to fund. And there are also other consequences of overlooking cybersecurity. So one of it being reputational damage, as an example, which could be quite severe and significant. And the other is, oversights in terms of, not looking at particular regulations or laws and incurring penalties as a result of that. So one particular example could be POPIA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so interesting. I mean, I was reading some stats, and it was a pretty high percentage. It was over 50%, if I'm not mistaken. That those kind of businesses just do not recover after a major cybersecurity attack, because obviously the reputational damage, the cost, etc. What would you say are the most significant cybersecurity threats that face SMEs today?
Yeah, thanks, Aki. And I'm glad that you brought up the stats. Last year in November, Vodacom Business did an actual cybersecurity survey and assessment and produced a report. And out of it showed, I think, north of 75, closer to 80% of SMEs have experienced a cyber attack in the past year. And the total costs, of overall enterprise businesses experienced, 80% of overall enterprise businesses in South Africa experienced a cyber attack in the last year, as at November 2024. And the total cost of those attacks was something north of 2 billion rands annually. So it is quite a staggering stats, staggering numbers. And hence I mentioned, the difference between staying afloat and being viable, having to close your doors. But if you look at some of the significant cybersecurity threats that SMEs face today, there are many. And those include things like phishing, ransomware, email compromises, and even things like botnets. And what you find is that some of these threats are becoming more and more sophisticated as time goes on. And SMEs are not able to effectively, have the resources to be able to defend this well enough to be able to mitigate it. And additionally, if you look at other things like human error as an example, or even if you look at within the supply chain itself, and particular compromises within there and vulnerabilities, take, for example, a third-party vendor, or let's say a service provider to an SME business. If you find some vulnerability in there, these are some of the leading cybersecurity incidents that we are seeing today in the market.
Listen, you mentioned human error, and if you look at the stats out there, human error is the biggest vulnerability when it comes to cybersecurity, and it's scary. It's like people don't realize it's the most obvious component there. So how does human error, as you mentioned just earlier, contribute to those cybersecurity vulnerabilities in SMEs?
Yeah, I think, as humans, and as working in a corporate environment, working in a small, medium enterprise environment, it's a significant vulnerability. We could click on a particular malicious link as an example, or we could download, a harmful attachment. And this could lead to serious data breaches, and other cybersecurity incidents. I do think that, regular cybersecurity awareness training can help employees to actually recognize what these threats are and to be able to respond to them effectively. And obviously this helps to reduce, the human error.
Okay. I want to bring in Lukhanyo into the conversation because Lukhanyo is the acting executive of cloud hosting and security at Vodacom Business. It's a massive portfolio you've got on your shoulders there, Lukhanyo, but I mean, you must be seeing some very interesting trends from SMEs and security and how they treat security. But there are massive benefits that can be gained by investing and in a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy as an SME. It doesn't mean that because you're a small, medium-sized enterprise that you're excluded from your cybersecurity posture. In fact, you should be even more secure and make sure that you've invested in the right places. So what are the benefits of investing in this comprehensive strategy?
Thanks for that, Aki. I think it's crucial, right, to have a comprehensive security strategy, because what this does, it safeguards customer data, and for SMEs, this means that you build and you maintain client trust, and so this prevents reputational damage, and this is crucial for customer retention and loyalty. And secondly, having this sort of strategy also or posture, right, can minimize potential downtime, which increases or ensures business continuity, and so this helps us or helps our SMEs protect against financial loss. And then thirdly, I think one that I think Sannesh briefly mentioned about compliance. Excuse me. So this helps with data regulations and avoiding legal penalties and fines.
So, I mean, you guys at Vodacom Business have got the tools. If I'm a small, medium-sized enterprise, I'm listening to this, I can come and talk to your department at Vodacom Business and say to you guys, listen, how are you guys going to help me? I need help. I'm a small, medium-sized enterprise. How can Vodacom Business help me enhance my cybersecurity posture? What do they do?
So we have different types of solutions, right? But I think again, it starts with the human being. So we tend to lead with the awareness training. It's important that our end users are trained around cybersecurity. We also have vulnerability assessment. So what this does, it helps the SMEs understand the current environment. And then we do have, so what sits on top of all of this is our managed security services, where we are assisting our customers 24/7, looking after the environment with solutions like a firewall management, VPN, zero trust, and protecting the SD-WAN. What this also brings is that our solutions are tailor-made for SMEs, and they easily integrate into the SME's current environment, which limits downtime, and it makes it easy for us to manage as well from a Vodacom point of view.
Fantastic. So it's quite interesting that, Vodacom has taken this quite seriously because you've got these services that are available. It's not new. You've had this available for a while, the cloud infrastructure, the security infrastructure. And I cannot stress again how important it is, small, medium-sized enterprises watching this right now, just engage with an organization like Vodacom Business, ask them for help, find out what they can do to really make sure that your cybersecurity posture is correct and that you're not vulnerable. So, Lukhanyo, how can an SME ensure the secure network access for their employees? Because you look at what's happened today, and, this is COVID. I mean, we had this remote work happening even before COVID, but it got accelerated. And the reality is that most organizations have now got this, hybrid environment where you spend X amount of days working remotely and X amount of days you're going into work. But the fact is that there is still a rise in remote work. So how does a small, medium-sized enterprise ensure that security of that network?
Yeah, so I think secure network access is crucial for protecting business data, because it's all about business data, right? And we have our users working from everywhere, as mentioned. So there's different solutions like your VPN. So on top of VPN as well, so VPN has evolved now, whereby we have solutions like Zero Trust. So what this enables is that any user can connect from everywhere, anywhere in the world, to the corporate environment, and then they'll ensure that specific interaction or work that they're doing is securely protected, and it's a secure connection back to the networks from anywhere. So what this does, it also prevents unauthorized access or people listening in. So if you're working in a coffee shop, you want to ensure that your communication back to your corporate office is secure, and so this also helps with preventing unauthorized access and protects against cyber threats.
Fantastic. And Sannesh, coming back to you now, I mentioned earlier the cost of cybersecurity. Yes, it's a cost, and yes, for many people it's a grudge purchase, but how can SMEs balance the cost of cybersecurity with limited budgets? Because let's be honest, small, medium-sized enterprises, have limited budgets. They are constrained, but they need to look at cybersecurity seriously. So how do they balance all of this?
Thanks, Aki. I think it's a really important question. And I think the answer lies in a small, medium enterprise business weighing up the cost of a potential cyber attack, and let's say the liabilities and, all the risks, etc., associated with that, versus actually investing in preventative measures. And by the way, Aki, I think it's important to note that investing in cybersecurity doesn't break the bank. If you do the numbers and you actually look at what's out there in the market, it actually doesn't break the bank. However, if you look at the other side of the coin, where I mentioned that, investing in cybersecurity could be the difference between staying afloat as a business or having to close your doors because, you can't actually recover from the liabilities you've incurred from, let's say, an attack. So I think, there's other benefits as well. I mean, if you look at investing in cybersecurity can support in increasing customer loyalty. If you look at things like system downtime, platform downtime, and, there's an improved business continuity because your platforms and all of that are up and you're able to serve customers through that more effectively. So it's better business continuity. And I think we spoke about the point earlier around protection against regulation and laws and penalties, etc., from overlooking certain, let's say, regulations. I think that's a big one also. I do think also that solutions like, managed security services we spoke about, email content filtering, and also cybersecurity awareness training. These can provide comprehensive protection to employees, to the SME organization, without actually breaking the bank.
Fantastic. So in closing, I want to ask you both this question, and I just want your piece of advice to anybody that's watching this, that's a small, medium-sized enterprise right now, that's watching this and saying, hang on a second, we need to look at our security posture. Vodacom Business has the solution that can help me. So, Lukhanyo, what is your advice in closing to small, medium-sized enterprises in regard to cybersecurity? What would your advice be to them?
So I think for me, it's two things for me, right? I always start with awareness training. I think it's key that everyone in the organization, from top to bottom, understands the security risks. And then secondly, I think as a business, you need to know what your security posture is. So always at least do a security assessment at least once or twice a year.
That's great advice, and I think the education part is very important. Yeah. And everybody needs to buy into that in the organization to understand what the risks are. Sannesh, what's your piece of advice to SMEs that are watching this right now?
Perfect. Thanks, Aki. I think The market landscape has changed significantly. If you look at decades ago, it may have been a different scenario, but these cyber threats now are real. I think we can see the impact in terms of the cost that it's having on businesses and actually taking some business down. I would say my advice would be that invest in cybersecurity, protect the viability of your business. It doesn't break the bank. And let's work together as Vodacom Business and yourself as a partnership, and let's see how we can design something that works for your business, that's cost effective, and that gives you the peace of mind and, protects the viability of your business.
I think it's great advice from the two of you. And the thing is, start the conversation. Get that conversation going and understand what the risks are to your business, because ultimately, at the end of the day, this is all about the risk to your organization. And if your posture is incorrect and you've got vulnerabilities, it could cost you your business. So you need to look at this very, very seriously. Sannesh Beharie, who's the Managing Executive for SME and Mobile Products at Vodacom Business. Lukhanyo Zahela, the Acting Managing Executive of Cloud Hosting and Security at Vodacom Business. Gents, I thank you very much for your time and your advice, and on a very interesting topic and a very important topic to discuss. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Aki, for the time. Really appreciate it.